hope your projects are going well. Today we're going to talk about writing a procedure and creating a data table. So I'm going to use the same question that I've been using. How does the amount of time I walk my dog affect the time he follows me around? And when I do my procedure, I'm going to be thinking about the details behind it. I want my procedure to be something that someone who didn't know me could repeat and use the same procedure and get similar results. And of course, this would have to be with the same dog. They couldn't change and use it for their dog and expect the same results. But we want it to be something that can be repeated. We also want to make sure that we use some constants in our experiment. So we're going to be talking about both of those. So if I were to gather data on this, there's different ways that we could do it, and there's different things that we might keep the same depending on your own dog. So I'm going to do this for my dog and use that as an example. So the first thing, I want to make sure I can tell how much time I walk my dog. And since this was our independent variable, this is the one that I'm going to be intentionally changing. So what I'm going to do is every day, I'm going to walk my dog. For a different amount of time. So that's going to be how I get my number for the amount of time I walk my dog. However, from my observation, my research, I know there's some things that I have to keep the same because otherwise it'll affect my data. So one thing I need to keep the same is the time of day. So I will walk him at 7 a.m. every morning. I will walk him on flat ground. I won't feed him until after the walk. And the last thing is I will walk him in the neighborhood. Now, any experiments that we're doing, there's going to be some things I can't control, but I want to make sure I control as much as I can. So these are some things I can control about how much time I walk my dog. Then I'm going to record how long my dog follows me around. So assuming that I'm home the same time every day, then I'd be able to do this. So I would want to make sure that I'm only taking data on the days that I'm able to walk him at 7 and then be home with a consistent schedule to see how often he follows me around. So since I'm not always home, what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify what hours I'm going to be looking at this for. So I will take my measurements, or I will record the time he follows me around between 8 and noon. Every day. I will use a stopwatch to time this. You may choose a different method, but I'm going to be looking at those couple hours of the day. I'm going to use a stopwatch, and I'll just keep adding on. So at the end of when it gets to be noon every day, I'm able to, at that point, record how long he follows me around. The last thing I'm going to say is that I'm going to repeat this every day for 3 weeks. The reason 3 weeks is because that's about how long you have to collect your data. 3 weeks probably isn't long enough over the course of time. I may decide that there's going to be a maximum that I'm going to walk him and a minimum, and I get more than one set of measurements for that. I could decide that I'm going to walk him continuously increasing in time. So you're going to have to decide what's best for you. Write it into your procedure. Your instructor will give you feedback after you submit this to them. So that's your procedure. Once you write your procedure, you need to also write up a data table to go with that. And your data table is going to record the information that you need to record as you're doing your experiment. So if I were to make a data table for this, I would want to put my date, the time I walk my dog, the time he follows me around, and then also a column for notes. These are things, this is a column where I'd put anything strange that happened, anything unexpected. I'm going to measure my time in minutes. So I'm going to include that on my data table. So I'm going to set up my times ahead of time. I want to walk him 10 minutes, then 20 minutes, then 30 minutes, then 40 minutes, and then keep this pattern going. And I'll repeat it for that whole 3 weeks of time. I'll fill in the date every day, then I'll walk him this time, and then I'll record the time he follows me around. So now it's your turn. You're going to make a data table and a procedure for your question. Please reach out to your instructor if you need help with this. My suggestion is first submit something to your instructor, and your instructor can help you give feedback to revise it. Good luck.